Welcome everybody to the Red G Fox channel. Yes. So thank you for joining us today as we are going to hit up one of my favorite. I would put it in my top 30, maybe even top 25 all time. And that is Fred's Cheating Hard. Yes. We get the great one where he thinks he's going to go in and have hemorrhoid surgery, but you know, things do work out in the end for Fred. But before we get to that real quick, you know, I got all these different things that we have in the background. Let me make sure this one is looking good. I don't like the light glare off of it. There we go. So a lot of times with these, they all have different things to do with the show. Each one, we got a little police car right here that represents Hoppy and Smitty. You got Sangria, obviously Julio. You got the ball right here that says Roosevelt, but it's supposed to represent Jackie Robinson. J-A-C-K-Y. So they're all stuff from there. Now, I got a new item I had to share with you because we just did the episode with Antonio Fargas where he played Sonny Cochran. And we did another short on him, and someone mentioned, oh, you know, they got to see his son do, like, run track in high school. And I said, you know what? I remember buying football cards back in the day, and I got an autograph, and here it is, of his son, Justin Fargas, when he came out of USC and got drafted by the Raiders, the Oakland Raiders. My wife's a Raider fan, so I saw him play every week because I'd watch him, as tough as it was. I'd watch him with my wife. And yeah, you actually get it. It's one that you get in the pack. Congratulations. You know, you got an official card. I didn't meet him, but I'm like, hey, that is going to go great on here because now we got something representing Sonny Cochran. And that, of course, will go right there next to Big Boy, who reminds me of Bubba, Big Boy Bubba. But that will be there. So when you see it and you go, what is that? Just like you got the Todd Gurley in the background. That's obviously, I'm a Rams fan, but Rams are mentioned by Bubba, the one episode when he's counting the jelly beans and he talks about the Rams making it. So everything here has a purpose and a reason on our channel. We actually have a video where I go over every item and what the point of them are on our members only videos if you ever want to become a member and check that out. So let's get to the video. We've wasted enough time. I just wanted to share that with you. Fred's Cheating Heart, Season 3, Episode 17 on IMDb. Or IMDb, I always mix those up. IMDb 7.6. Yes, that's a good score. We said anything over 7.5 or higher is considered a really good episode. Maybe not elite, but really good. And Season 3 is the best. This would probably be one of the top 4 of Season 4 and definitely probably number 1 of Season 6. That's how good and funny it is. And our RG Fox official channel, we give it an 8.0. It just got too many scenes that crack me up as we go through the breakdown. We'll see. Quick summary. We find that Fred, you know, he's faking the heart attacks. And because there's a guy who's going door to door, collecting funds for the Heart Foundation, he finds out, and that's not Bret Hart Foundation. That is the Heart Fund Foundation. But he tells him, you know, he talks to Lamont about it. Lamont finds out and kind of forces Fred to come into a fake heart attack. When he does that, he says, hey, we can go down here to the Our Ladies of the, it's the one hospital that they go to. And Fred's like, no, I'm okay. He ends up getting him, tricking him about marrying his sister, Julio's sister. They go down to the hospital and all heck breaks loose. Fred almost ends up getting hemorrhoid surgery because he just can't seem to not be Fred. So that is the summary. This is a great one. It is an episode of Fred finally getting called on Crying Wolf and ends up backfiring on him. So let's get right to it with our fun facts.
I didn't know that.
All right, fun facts. We got a couple. Let's see how you comment below if you think they're anything interesting or you learned something. We just saw a few episodes ago where everyone was mourning, right, in Wine, Women, and Esther, the loss of Junior Cooper. In this one, Grady does bring up Junior Cooper's name again. So it's funny because a lot of times he would bring up other people, you know, Wardell Jackson died, you know, he couldn't even get his socks off, you know, things like that. We don't even know who they are, but they're never heard from again. But in this one, Junior Cooper, they just had the funeral, and he talks about it because he mentioned one guy, Junior Cooper, and then Fred was going to die when he's visiting the hospital because he's all, you know, they say it comes in threes, Fred. And it does. When you look at it, all the celebrities, how they pass like that. So great. It's fun to see that because a lot of times with shows back in the day, they wouldn't have that continuity where they would be almost like it, you know, carry over from episode to episode. They did later on in other shows, but that is one cool thing there. Now, the actor Thalmus, who played the guy who comes around collecting money for the Heart Fund, we talked about him before. We already did a familiar faces on him in the Card Sharps. Go back and look at that if you want to hear everything about him. I believe we've even talked about him on other things, but Thalmus He plays the Heart Fund Man. He actually passed away of a heart attack on October 9th, 1991. He was much younger than Red Fox. The ironic thing is, just 2 days later, Red Fox would pass away of a heart attack. So we have two guys in this episode talking about a heart attack being a #1 killer for the black man. And Fred lets out a great line. I can't wait to get to that. Probably more so true nowadays, even more than back then. But Fred gets off a line. But yeah, he passed away of a heart attack. 2 days later, Red Fox died. And here we're both talking about, ironically, the heart and the important and how dangerous it could be for the black community. Men, especially men, suffering from a heart attack. So that is it, in case you did not know. It's a very sad fact, but that is a fun fact. Let's get to the familiar faces. We got a couple today.
Just wait a minute. May I ask you a personal question? Who are you?
All right, familiar faces. We got a lot, but like I said, Thomas, we've already covered him before. We've already covered one of the other orderly guys. Remember, he was also the bouncer in the one where the 3 degrees. We already did that episode before. You can, anytime if you really care, you can watch any other episode that we've done in Actor, and we cover all of them. The first time they appear, we will cover them. We've even did Grady, his first appearance. We do them all. So today we get Helen Verbit. She's the very first nurse who comes where Fred makes this face you see right here. He is, you're the one in here making him sick. She is in it. She passed away in 1996 at the age of 79. She worked in over 30 movies and shows, and she appeared on The Nanny. That was it, The Nanny being her final role. She did appear in that. That was the last one she ever did. She also was in Good Times, Happy Days, Barney Miller, right? We know a lot of Sanford and Son cast, and even Swanee. He went on to direct a lot of episodes for Barney Miller. So there's a huge Barney Miller, Sanford and Son, like a cohesive unit. A lot of people going through there. But she appeared in Barney Miller and Night Court. Of course, we know Steinberg and Son, the guy John Larroquette, who's still with us today. He was in Night Court, so it's funny to see that she might have been there. And I wonder if they ever exchanged Sanford and Son stories. Maybe not. When you do this many, like we said, she did over 30 movies and shows. They kind of all blend in. Let's get to the next one, and that is Joan Pringle. She was the second nurse where Fred says, "Does a hog love slop?" when he wanted the back rub, and she's like, okay. And then she brought in the other nurse. We'll get to that. I'm getting ahead of myself. But she is 79 years old, and she's still with us. All right. She's still here, 79, and doing fine. She has appeared in over 70 movies and shows, with The Lost City being the latest one she did in 2022. I think the one before that was like 2014, so she had like an 8-year gap where she didn't do anything, at least in movies and shows. I don't know if she was a writer, director, or maybe just taking time off, but she still is appearing in things. She was also in Starsky and Hutch one time. The White Shadow, 53 episodes, so she's got 2 series that she did a lot of work in. The White Shadow being one of them with 53. Another show called Generations. I don't know if that's a soap opera, weird. I've heard of it before, but I never watched it. 190 episodes in that from 1989 to 1991. So a couple years of that, and she did 197 episodes. One of my favorite shows as a kid growing up, when I was a young one, I used to sneak and watch this at night when my mom was off from work. That is Moonlighting, and she did Friends in the 90s. That was it with her. Like I said, God bless her, still here with us. The next one is, this is Henry Bosch, B-A-S-C-H, Henry Bosch. He played Dr. Jameson. He just passed away. He's the one where he goes, when Fred's going out, and he's all, excuse me. He's all, what is going on here? And Fred's all, hold on. Who are you? I love that. I can't wait to show a clip of that. That's one of my favorite parts. Just because Fred stops it, it's so serious, and everyone freezes like, wait, what's he got to say? He has a question. And he's all, who are you? The way Fred says it kills me. But yes, that doctor, he just passed away in 2020. 94 years young. Holy cow. 94 years old. So he was with us for a long time. He did over 50 movies and shows, including one of our all-time favorite, What's Happening? So he did one time What's Happening. He did Mannix 2 times. He appeared in that. Get Smart 3 times. You can see each show he got a little more. Get Smart 3 times. All 3 different characters, not reoccurring role. And as well as Mod Squad 4 times, 4 different characters. At least 3 for sure, where he did not have a reoccurring character. So that is it with Henry Bosch. And I think this is, yes, our last one. He is the orderly, not the one who was the bouncer nightclub, but the other one, Raymond O'Keefe. He is still with us as well. Now, go back a lot of times it's hard to find people from Sanford and Son cast that is still with us to this day in 2024. I just did a video where we combined a couple and I drop some new people as well. When I go through them, it's tough because there are so many that you would go, hey, they might be here, and they pass away. Then you hear ones like this that you go, oh, you know what? They probably pass on, and they're in their 80s and 90s, still going strong. And he's here. Go, like I said, go watch that one. Especially the first few, you might be like, whoa, that blew me away. I did not know he's still with us. 83 years, over 60 movies and shows, including a very popular one for Sanford actors, that is Canon, as well as Policewoman, 2 appearances in Policewoman. It's funny, he also, remember Policewoman was on after Sanford & Son, as well as Chico and the Man. He was never in that. But he was also in this one, 5 times, Rockford Files. So man, he really hit up the Friday night block on NBC. He as well was in All in the Family. Another thing we've seen a lot of Sanford & Son people do, All in the Family. You got Archie and Fred, both sides. The movie Working 9 to 5, so he was in that. Again, Moonlighting, one of my all-time favorites, and MacGyver, one of my all-time favorites. He made one appearance in both of those as well. That is it for Familiar Faces. Let's get to the breakdown.
Don't worry about a thing, Papa Banks.
All right, the breakdown. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Boop, boop. Fred is watching Popeye the Sailor. We got to hear him sing it because Fred's scraggly voice, it sounds amazing doing the old Popeye.
I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Boo boo. I love to go swimming with bow-legged women. Popeye the Sailor Man.
I love when he's like, oh, he just got a ptomaine from a bad case of spinach. So he's getting there, and he forgot to make Lamont's breakfast. Lamont, at this stage, come on, he's 66. I've already said this before. Lamont, if he doesn't make your breakfast, he even forgot his own, cut him some slack. I know you need to eat, you got time, but he's 66. He carried this empire, and he's leaving it all to you. So he's going to go make that, or Lamont goes in to make his breakfast, and Fred's like, give me some runny eggs. There's a guy at the door, right? Knock. And it's the man from the Heart Foundation. And he should have been like, hey, you know what? Didn't you play cards? Didn't I take you for everything? Fred set him straight, right? He went and he's like, you know what? I need to make something of myself. But he comes in and he wants to, and Fred won't let him in. And he's like, come on, man. He said, at the end, they're going back and forth. He's all, and then he has words of Fred, like almost like a threat. You might watch out for this, Fred. But Fred has some words for him right back.
One day you may be sorry you didn't give. It won't be today.
Fred's like, I'm going to go make breakfast. And Lamont's like, well, who was it? He's like, I don't care. So Fred goes, and Lamont's like, hey, brother. He's like, come on in here. And he comes back, and he starts talking to him about, hey, having the heart attack, and how it's the #1 killer, right, in America. And Lamont's really shocked. He's like, wow, I didn't know that. So he's teaching him these facts, and that's when he's like, hey, you know what? He's going to take off. But Lamont goes, you know, what if someone had like 3 or 4 heart attacks a day? And the guy's like, no, man, he can't do it. 1 or 2, one big one, and it's over. And Lamont's like, oh, and he's like, is this person close to you?
Have you ever seen this person have a heart attack?
Oh, yeah, all the time. This person is like a father to me.
Well, does this person complain about
He is like a father. He is. So the guy's like, okay, they have a chat, and he learns about the hospital he can take Fred. He's like, I could take him to get him tested. Lamont's like, hey, we got to find out. He has played possum so much on me. Now we can find out if he really does have an issue. I need to trim back. If we don't, my dad's a gold brick. Not as bad as Cousin Emma, but he needs to get his butt in gear. So he gives him $1, and then he's like, hey, thank you. And then he's like, hey, you know what? I'm feeling generous. And he gives him 2. He's like, if I could find 1 million more people like you, everyone would have a healthy heart. So he takes off, and that's when he goes in there, and he has to break some very bad news. And he's going to tell Fred, and I like when Fred's like, never put off till tomorrow. It's supposed to be what you could do today. He's all, never put off till tomorrow what you can do the day after tomorrow. He doesn't want to hear it. But that's not stopping Lamont as he breaks the tough news to Fred.
All right, here it is. I'm getting married.
You what?
I'm getting married.
What happened? Did you not, you make some girl pregnant?
It's not magic fingers, Maria. So he's going to have a heart attack. Lamont's like, hey, let's go. Let's get you to the hospital then. He's like, hospital? I ain't going to hospital. I'll be fine. And he's like, no, Our Lady of the Leaves, or whatever, Our Lady of the something. I always forget the name of it. He said, they got it right there. We can take you all. Now I'll be fine. What does Fred need? Fred don't need no hospital. He needs one thing to help him feel better.
I got a cardiac arrest department not too far from here at Our Lady of the Leaves Hospital. Now, come on,
No,
let's
I
go.
don't need to go to the hospital. I'm fine. Just give me a glass of eye ripple of the grapes.
Our eye ripples of the grapes. So yeah, he wants to drink. He doesn't want to do it. He's like, no, let's go. He said they got some cardio things. They can find out about your heart and test you. And he's like, what? You ain't gonna put no electric cards on me now. He's killing me. But then he's like, no, come on, let's go, Pop. And he's dragging him. Fred's like, no, I'm fine. I don't want to do it. He's totally kicking and screaming. And so Lamont's like, hey, you can't have it both ways. You're gonna either have a heart attack, I'm marrying Julio's sister and you can't take it and you're really bad, or you're just faking it. And he's got to find out. And he's like, come on, it's easy, it's painless.
You go, electricity be painless. You ever see a guy jump out of electricity and say, oh, that was nice and painless?
That's one of the best lines of all time. We go, how can electricity be painless? Oh, that was nice and painless, when they jump out of the electric chair. So that's it. He gets it. He's able to convince Fred, or not convince him. He takes him, and Fred's still having pain, but it's that butterbean, the stuff he shouldn't have ate. So they get there, and now Fred's not happy. When he hears the guy going, oh, he's like, oh, hell no, I ain't going in there. He gets him in there, and Lamont's got to tell him, look, Dad, Pop, you got to get in here. You got to learn out why. Why is heart disease so bad, and why is it so bad to you? And then Fred's got one of the best results, or comebacks.
Did you know that hypertension and heart disease kill more blacks than anything else in America?
I didn't know that. I thought it was the police.
Oh my gosh. Oh, never tired of that. Never tired. And you know what, man? If Fred was around today, he'd be saying, see, I told you, it ain't the heart. It ain't the heart. So Lamont's like, you got to stay. And then they hear someone else next to him, and he's like, oh, and he sounds really bad. And you would think Fred would have a little compassion and realize you're in a hospital. These people are sick. But Fred doesn't want to hear any of it.
What's that?
Sounds like the dude in the bed over there.
Hey, man, hey, will you shut up?
The way he says that. He's like, will you shut up? Man, you make it. So Lamont, he's got to go try on that gown, and Lamont's gonna take off. He's gonna get these tests done. Fred gets it. He sits down. Now he's chilling in there, and that's when he starts going, "Hey, get me out of here! Get me out of here!" And the beautiful nurse comes in, and she's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And he changes like that.
You all right? I can hear all the way up the hall.
Yeah, I was going a little stir crazy.
I love when he's like, hey, why don't you just set a couple screens up around here and I'll be good. I'll be quiet as a mouse. So she's like, look, dude, what if you get a nice back massage, a nice alcohol rub, something to calm you down and help you with your nerves. And he's like, oh, 6 big strong men with crowbars couldn't open my mouth. He'll be quiet. She does that. So she's like, all right, I'll be right back. So she goes, and we're thinking, oh, Fred's going to score. Watch out, Donna. I hope Donna doesn't come by. He's got his kit, you can see right here, he's got his kit. I love when he's combing his hair. And then he's got the last part, he's got to put on a little bit of that aftershave. Right, Home Alone. So he's got that, and then he's all ready. And she comes in, he hears it, and he's like, let your fingers, go through the classified section. And he opens his eyes. Let's look at it.
What's this?
His reaction when he does that. Oh my gosh. I don't see how people comment below. This has to be more than a 7.6 to me. That's why we give it our chance. It's me, but I feel like it's a community because we have so many people. But 8.0. Our channel gives it an 8.0 just in the fact that there's just so much funny humor, and it's just back to back to back to back. It's got some great stuff, very memorable. I think it's overlooked because it just came off of several Wine, Women, and Esther, Big Money Grip, Sonny Cochran, like all these things, and then you come with that, and it's kind of forgotten, right? It's almost like if you've ever had kids, we've had some that are real close and far apart. When they're farther apart, you remember more. When they're closer, everything kind of blends together, and I think this episode gets lost at times. But yeah, that's so good when Fred does it. And he's like, help, help. And she's like, this is a hospital. Calm down in here. What? Yeah, and exactly. People are sick, Fred, but why are they sick?
Keep your voice down. This is a hospital,
I know it's a hospital. And you the one making people sick in here.
The way he says it too. Man, the delivery Red Fox has is just, It's all up there with everyone else. They're like, you can maybe match him, right, with other great comedians. You cannot surpass him, in my opinion. You cannot. His delivery lines, his expressions, they're as good as anyone that ever existed that does comedy. I don't care. Any culture, any cunt place in the planet. So she's trying to calm him down. He doesn't want to hear it. And then, thank God, Grady comes in. So Grady comes in, and he's like, you can leave now, honey. I love the way he says that. So she takes off, and Grady's like, oh, you know, you look sick. And he's like, there's nothing wrong with me. Grady's like, oh, they'll find something. What is it? And then we got to hear Grady talk about what happens when, you know, Wardell Jackson died. You know, what else is going on?
I'm not sick.
Oh, goodness. That's just what Edie Hugh McGee said before he died. He yelled right out, I am not sick. And he rolled right out of that bed and died.
And then I love when Grady's like, they'll find something. He's like, I am not sick. He said that's exactly what Humagidi, some weird name. I always forget the names that Grady says because they all blend together. But he said that's exactly what he said. I am not sick. And he fell over and died. So Fred's like, you know what, man? You're making me sick. You know, and he says he has to use the bathroom. I think that was earlier when he mentioned he had to use the bathroom. He's like, we use the toilet outside. This is, you know, don't come in mine. So he's like, get out of here, Grady. You know, you're making me worse. So Grady's like, bye-bye, Fred. And he takes off. He was literally in 2 or 3 minutes, and it was outstanding comedy. You saw a few scenes in here. So now Fred is going. He gets out of bed, and that's when he's looking around, and he checks. He sees the sign. He keeps hearing. Remember, the poor guy keeps crying. What is Fred's response to him?
He's over down. I'm trying to rest.
You better shut up, jump out, jump over that street.
He's so mean to him. He's like, nobody can be that sick. He's all, or can it? So he takes the two signs, right? At the end, it has the problem with you and why you're there. He switches it with the neighbor. So they sit in there. Oh my gosh. And then they come in and they're looking at the things and they're like, I thought it was the one closer to the wall. And he's like, no, it's this one, the Orleans. And then Fred's like, wait, what's going on?
You're going for a little ride.
Now do you tell me where and give me a round trip ticket?
Fred's like, wait, I ain't going anywhere unless you give me a round trip ticket. So he wants to know what's going on. For some reason they won't tell him. But they're about to go, and then Lamont comes in, and Lamont's like, wait, what's going on? And they're all, he's due for surgery. I want you to see Fred, but Fred's reaction to when he says surgery. But Lamont's like, wait, what surgery? We just brought him in for a few tests. He's all, you sure? And the guy, I hate that part. He's all, I can be, what is he? I could be 70% sure if you want. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, to him, he's taking it. Just tell him, yes, he's going. That's it. That's all you had to say. But Lamont's got to break it. Before that, Fred's like, wait, where am I going?
They're taking you to surgery, Pop.
To Hoogery?
I'm in for Hoogery? So Lamont's got to break it to him, man. And he says, and I love when he goes to tell him, and he's like, try not to cry, right? He's holding it. And then he finally reveals his pop. He ain't getting married. This was all a big trick.
I lied. I'm not getting married. I just told you that so you'd have a heart attack so I could get you in the hospital to have these tests.
You big cold-blooded dummy.
I've said many times. Aunt Esther joke where Fred says face in gorilla dough and make some gorilla cookies was my favorite insult he ever said to Esther. Just the way the delivery's perfect. And the way he says cold-blooded on this is my favorite dummy. Well, he's got some good ones where he's like, you big dummy. When he says it right there, he's all, you big cold-blooded dummy. And the one's like, I know, Pop. I'm sorry, Pop. I thought you were faking. And he's all, see, didn't I tell you? You know, Fred's telling him, I told you, man. I really am sick. He doesn't realize that he's still playing along with the thing. You know, he totally wants to trick Lamont. And that's when they're like, we got to get you out of here. He's all, that's when he says, we're taking you to surgery, Pop. And he's all, wait, taking me to Hoogery? So I got it out of order there. But as he takes them, that's what I'm saying with this episode. The whole thing kills me, and it all blends together, especially when they're in the hospital scene. And that's when they're about to go out, and it's getting chaotic. And Fred, you can see him. He's like, no, wait. He's like trying to say he switched the signs. And that's when the doctor comes in.
What's the problem in
Hey,
here?
just wait a minute. May I ask you a first question? Who are you?
The doctor, when he stops in, Fred's all, who are you? It's so funny. I don't know. Comment below. Am I the only one who thinks it's so fun? I mean, I know we all love the show, but is this episode in your top 25 like it is myself? Is it one to where you turn it on, you are excited because you know, hey, they're jipping me out of I got my snaps and crackles, but they're jipping me in my pop. Remember when you got the Rice Krispie cereal earlier? I mean, just simple things like that. The whole episode is hysterical. And it's got some great actors in it. I think they do a really good job. All of them play their part so well in this. It's got a lot, as we saw in Familiar Faces. So he's got to go. They take him off, and that's when he's like, oh, when Lamont's like, wait, I thought he's here for hemorrhoid surgery. He's like, I thought my pop was here just for some tests, for his heart. And he's like, he's nowhere close. He said, he's here for hemorrhoid surgery. He's all hemorrhoids. Poor Lamont, he's like so confused. He said, that is, what, Mr. Banks. And he's like, Mr. Banks. He said, that is the name on the chart. Your father is Lester Banks. And that's when you see Lamont.
Right, Mr. Banks.
What?
Your father is Lester Banks, isn't he?
It's one of the best endings where Lamont gets the last laugh, right? I love it when he's like, so long, Papa Banks. Oh my gosh. It's so good, dude, the way he does that. The smile he gets, as you see right here on his face, that is hysterical, the way Lamont gets that big grin. And it hits him, like Gru would say in Despicable Me, light bulb. It hits him right there. So at the end, he gets a good laugh. We see the final when they're talking about it when they get home, and he's telling him, he said, you look so silly running down there with your gown flapping open. And he goes, well, Pop, what took you so long? Why didn't you take off?
Tell me something, man. How come you waited until you was in the operating room before you jumped up and split?
It took me that long to remember what hemorrhoids were.
I know, Fred's like, wait, what is hemorrhoids? What is hemorrhoids? It took him a bit, like he said. And then I love the delay. It might be me too, because it's like, he probably heard it. And just like, think about if you were there, like hemorrhoids, you're just like, wait, what am I going? You're not even paying attention to what it's for. You're just trying to get your brain to process the moment. And then when it finally did, Fred took off with his naked butt exposed running down the hall. That's a sight. That's hysterical. So that's one thing I love about Sanford & Son. They can make you laugh with just the visual of a story, or from Grady, right? Or something where they paint a picture, and they're very good. Sanford & Son's really good at doing that throughout the series history. And that's when he's like, oh, you know what? Fred's still, he's like, you know what? We never did get your heart tested. And he's like, oh, I'm fine. And then he tells him, and he's like, oh, but my arthritis, right?
So,
Hospital?
yeah.
Never mind.
He's like, oh, little baby ones. He doesn't want to admit to it. And then, right, he's like, fine, I'll sweep. He sweeps, and then he's about to hit Lamont with it at the end. Then he sees it, and he sweeps the room. So, great episode. Like I said, man, I absolutely adore this one. Top 25 for me. I would have to go through them and say, is it top 20? I could take that debate. Some people, they will say, someone has to say it's number 1 or top 5 for them. This is a very good episode, very funny episode, and great laughs. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed. If you stuck around this long, comment below. Let me know your favorite scene in this. And one more quick thing.
Power to the bosses!
Yeah, Jim Offit, he's a member of the Gray Foxes. We have a couple other members of Esther's Raiders. Feel free to join that as well. I might even start adding maybe a little name drop for Esther's Raiders, but usually the shout outs are just for Gray Foxes. Thank you very much for any member. Thank you for anyone who ever leaves a thank you tip. Very appreciated. And thank you most importantly for everyone for watching and subscribing. It means so much to me, and continue to see the channel grow. I thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. Have a great week, safe week, and we'll see you on Friday. We might even have a live show coming up this week. I'd love to get together like we do and watch an episode and crack up. It's just good for the heart, right? It's just good to get out there, laugh, Sanford & Son with friends. We have a great community. If you've never been to a live show where I watch it here and you watch it on your end, and we chat and laugh in the group text or in the group messaging, I promise you'll have a good time. And we maybe do a game show, but we'll definitely do an episode together. And we have a community of about 8 or 10 people that come. Sometimes 3 or 4 come, sometimes all 10 come, and it's great laughs and a good time to get to know someone online. So thank you, everyone. We'll talk to you again soon. Peace.